Hi guys, it's Andy from MCFC TV. I want to say a massive thank you to Matt and Keg from the Magpie Channel TV for inviting me on to answer some questions prior to this weekend's game against Newcastle. So Matt sent over some questions and I sent over some questions to Matt, and we've got Keg on the channel answering those questions. But Matt's questions to me, the first one was, can you still win the league? I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a tough ask, if I'm honest, this season, mate. We are currently 9 points behind Liverpool, and we're at the end of November. We've done it before. The only thing that's the saving grace is we've done it before against United. We did it last season against Liverpool. If you think late December, we were 7 points behind Liverpool. And then after the defeat to you guys, and towards the end of January, we then won our remaining 14 games of the season to win the title again with 98 points. So can we do it? Yes, I still believe we can do it. The one thing what gives me belief is the fact that we'll have key players coming back sometime late January in Aymeric Laporte, possibly Leroy Sané. I can't see him moving in January. He might move in the summer, but hopefully he'll be back as well. And plus that period, we are going into the next round of the Champions League, and we've also got the cup competitions as well. So that's when, that time of year, sort of February time, is when it really starts testing your squad depth. Now, so far this season, Liverpool have been brilliant, and they've had very, very few injuries where we're hamstrung at the moment, to phrase a pun. So I think as long as we keep winning and keeping as close as possible to Liverpool, and let's not forget Leicester as well, and Chelsea are in the mix. As long as we can keep close to Liverpool over the festive period and throughout January, then that final run-in really does, it really does tell. So Liverpool bottled it last year. We are notoriously brilliant at coming from behind. Pep will have them fit and firing and ready to go. Will it be enough this season, the way Liverpool are going? I'm not too sure, if I'm honest. Can we do it? Yes, of course we can. I think if it goes to 12 points, the gap, let's say, for example, if you guys were to beat us at the weekend, then I think it's going to make it absolutely nigh on impossible. But while it's still mathematically there, definitely City fans, I'm sure, believe that come the beginning of next year, when things really start to tell, then of course Manchester City can do it yet again, because we've done it twice already.
Buongiorno everyone, Keg here from the Magpie Channel. Andy from Man City Fan TV sent us some questions here at the Magpie Channel in build up to the game this weekend at St James's Park, Newcastle United versus Manchester City. Let's get straight into it then. Question number one is, are Newcastle fans still on Mike Ashley? Absolutely. That is not going to change until the day Mike Ashley walks out the club. Like, we will never be satisfied. Like, it's been too long. I know in the summer, we've seen a few people talking that he put money in, he spent 40 million on Joe Linton and brought in some Maximin and this, that and the other. So people were like, oh, well, at least he's putting money in. Yeah, but you don't understand unless you're living with Newcastle United on a day-to-day basis, and 12 years of neglect. It's just gone too far. Like, he can put as much money in as he wants now. Like, it's done. The damage is done. The dust settled. We want Mike Ashley out. We've been trying for years and years. We've had different fan groups and campaigns to do X, Y, and Z, but it's not worked. I think Mike Ashley's just a bit too stubborn. I think he's demanding a little bit too much. Like, he either wants 50 million too much, or he wants full control of the club shop. He wants all the profits from the shop to go with his Sports Direct brand or something like that. But nah, it's gone too far. And like, yeah, we've spent a lot of money this summer, but it's too little too late. Like, as you can tell from this season, it hasn't really worked. Like, Joe Linton, he still hasn't found his boots. Who knows if he ever actually will? Who knows if it was 40 million down the drain? So Maximin's a great player, but still he hasn't really found his feet yet. Like, if he was putting that amount of money in, like, consistently, like every summer, a little bit here and there in January, we probably would have a great squad. But he's neglected us for that long. It's like the damage is already done. Like, we need to get him out as soon as possible, and we're never going to go up. Like, we're never going to progress under Mike Ashley. The best chance we had would have been Rafa Benitez, a well-established manager who knows what he's doing, but he wasn't given the financial backing. Like, Rafa got all the money. I think that's what happened. Mike Ashley was paying Rafa Benitez one of the highest wages in the Premier League, I think only second to Pep Guardiola, and gave him no money to do anything with. He thought, oh, well, you're a good manager, so you can deal with the players that you've got. You can get Hoslu to score 50 goals a season. Nah, it wasn't going to happen. So now he's got in Steve Bruce, who knows is just going to hover in the relegation zone. He knew he needed a little bit more financially to put in the team, because I think Steve Bruce is now the lowest paid manager in the Premier League. So he had to put money in. Mike Ashley just wants to stay around about 16th, 17th. He just wants the Premier League rights money and the TV money that comes with it. He's not bothered about Europe or Champions League or trophies or anything like that. He's just happy to have a Premier League club. Where they are, whether they're 1st or 17th, he doesn't give a shit. Like, the only time he starts to put money in is the 2 times we got relegated, and that's why we bounced back so easily, because we did build up a cracking championship squad. But the unfortunate thing is now we're still kind of on the back breeze of that. Like, we've still kind of got a championship squad with the exceptions of a few here or there. So now Mike Ashley out, always will be. We've had a few, like I said, about the campaign groups. I'll just give a shout out for Two for Change. They've been making these scarves, which we've been in support of, similar to what your neighbours have done at Manchester United with the green and gold scarves in protest of the Glazers. We have these now, the era of ambition scarves with Two for Change. Shout out those guys.
Okay, question 2 from Matt and Keg is, why didn't you replace Vincent Kompany at the end of last season? Well, I think we're certainly asking ourselves the same question right now, mate, if I'm being honest. Difficult one. One, obviously financial fair play. We had to be very careful. But then on the flip side of that, we did sign Joao Cancelo and 60 million quid with Danilo going in the opposite direction. For me, I said it so many times on the vlogs, when fan cams and things like that. I just didn't get the Cancelo purchase. I still don't get it, if I'm honest. A centre back was an absolute must, but I'm sure at the beginning of the season we thought, well, we've got Aymeric Laporte, who's absolutely world class. We weren't expecting Laporte to get injured. We had John Stones and Otamendi. We also had Eric Garcia as well. We could potentially play 3 at the back and bring Walker in. But again, I just don't understand. It all comes down to the purchase of Cancelo for me. I just didn't get it, because Danilo was an able right back, a very good right back, versatile player who could also play at centre back and left back and in a defensive midfield role as well. So we were sniffing obviously around Harry Maguire, but then when I think the rumours were around about £70 million was initially quoted to Manchester City, City looked at it and just said, no chance, not with the wages as well that he was demanding. And of course, because City was sniffing around a player, Manchester United came in as usual, and I think he eventually went for 85 million. I just don't think City were prepared to pay that, and we're not that type of club anymore. We were doing that in the early days when we needed to invest heavily, sometimes in some average purchase, poor purchases, Mangalas and things like that. But we don't need to do that anymore. We're not a club that will be held to ransom. We certainly don't pay over the odds for players or over the odds in wages. It's well structured, and so is it now, as a City fan looking back, the wrong decision? Absolutely. At the time, we probably thought we would get away with it. Laporte gets injured. He's out until probably the end of January. Now, with hindsight, which is always easy in retrospect to look back on something like that, you think, big mistake. Will we replace Vincent Kompany? I don't think we can replace somebody like that. I think we're missing his leadership skills more than anything at the moment, massively. Not only on the pitch, but around the place as well, around the team, in the dressing room, on the training pitch, because he was just he led by example, and he wouldn't allow anybody not to give 100% in everything that they did at the club. And I'm not too sure the way some of the players' body languages this season has been in certain games, whether that is as much a miss as him being on the pitch. Because let's face it, after the Newcastle game, I think Kompany was out last season. I think Kompany was out for like 4 or 5 games, and then he came back towards the end of the season. And I think, if I remember rightly, he played, I think it was 9 games out of the final 11. 2 of those, I think he was on the bench, and another he was injured. But he was pivotal in that running when we won the title last season, and obviously that goal against Leicester just cemented his place in Manchester City history. So for me, is he a miss? Absolutely. Not so much for just on the pitch, but his leadership skills around the squad, the dressing room, the training pitch, etc. Will we replace him? I think we probably might go in for somebody in January. I don't think it'll be a massive outlay on a big player. Nobody wants to move in January if they're at a club that's still in the Champions League. But it could be a loan signing or something like that, just as a little bit of cover, because hopefully Pep will be looking to keep on Liverpool's coattails until the likes of Laporte is back. And yeah, I guess we'll see. But was it a mistake in hindsight? Yeah, probably.
Question number 2. You're 14th so far. How's your season gone under Bruce, and have the fans accepted him? The season's been a roller coaster, to be fair. Like, Steve Bruce isn't the man we want, and he never will be. Like, he's not Rafa. Like, we've gone from one extreme to another with Steve Bruce. We've picked up a mid-table Championship manager, a guy that's been bouncing around Premier League clubs for years and years, relegations, Championship promotions. We're never really going to see anything great under Steve Bruce, but it's been a bit of a whirlwind season. Some performances have been dreadful. I think when we go behind, he's just out of ideas. It's like once we go 1-0 down, I think he shits the bed, sorry to speak, but he hasn't got a plan B. Like, he's got no idea how to salvage a win. Like, at the start of the season, we got beat 3-1 off Norwich, and the week afterwards we went and beat Tottenham away. And we've beat Man United at home, sorry. Hopefully Man City at home. And after that, we've gone on a back-to-back win against West Ham and Bournemouth. 2 great wins in our eyes. I know for Man City that's just standard, but when you're at a team like us, like, we haven't had back-to-back wins all season. So then 6 points. It was actually 7 points out of 9. We went on a 3-game unbeaten spell up until the Villa game just gone. So you kind of see glimpses where you think, oh, it's not that bad. We've got a decent squad. We've got some good players that know how to play. Maybe Brucey isn't as clueless as we think he is. But then we'll go and play teams like Aston Villa and just haven't got a clue. It's just shocking at all ends. The best thing about us this season has been our defence. We've got like 6 solid centre-backs. As soon as one goes out injured or suspended, we've got someone else to come in, take their place and just carry on. Like, that's where we're most blessed at centre-back. But on Monday night against Aston Villa, it was atrocious at all ends of the field. Dubravka, the goalkeeper, was maybe the only saving grace. He made a few good saves. It could have been more than 2-0 if it wasn't for him. But as a season, like I say, it's had some good, had some bad. But have we accepted him? Nah. Like, I think some warmed to him. Like, I think myself, like, I've warmed to him. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. But then we'll have these games like Aston Villa where we think, oh no, you don't know what you're doing, do you? It's shocking. He hasn't got a clue. Like, he's a jolly guy. That's why we kind of try and give them the benefit of the doubt. But we know for the long run, he's not the main man. But this is the problem. He's Mike Ashley's appointment, and Mike Ashley knows exactly what he's getting out of him. Like, Steve Bruce, like, yes, he's a jolly boy. This is his hometown club. This is his dream job. He'll love being here, but he's come in like, as a bit of a yes man. That's why Rafa didn't stay. Rafa had his own ideas because he's an intelligent bloke, a top class manager. He's seen Newcastle as a project. He wanted to build the academy, develop the training ground, like all these things. But Mike Ashley was like, "What? No, we can't be doing that. Like, that'll probably make the team better. Nah, can't be having that." So, nah, you get out the door and we'll bring a guy in who's grateful for the opportunity, a guy that's been stuck in the middle of the Championship. Not just a big promotion for him to manage a big Premier League club like Newcastle, but it's his hometown club, and he wouldn't say nah. Like, he wouldn't want to damage that for himself. So, He's not fully accepted, but we'll have to kind of accept that he's here now, and that's not going to change. I know some people have been saying, like, oh, he'll get sacked by February, he'll be sacked by Christmas or whatever. He'll not. He'll be there for the long term until Mike Ashley can bring in someone better. I think he'll only go, I was going to say if we get relegated, but I don't even think that. I think Mike Ashley brought him in the summer with the idea that we probably would get relegated this season, and he would be a good manager for next season to bring us back up. I think that's the way Mike Ashley's seen it. So I think he's got at least a 3-year plan with Steve Bruce. So if anyone's planning on putting any bets on Steve Bruce to get relegated, sacked, don't. He's not going to, unfortunately. Question 3, who's been your standout player this season? Despite how kind of bleak it's been, we have had a few shining moments. Like I've just spoke about our centre-backs. We've got a great bunch of centre-backs. The ones that we didn't really think would start, like your Kieran Clarks, Federico Fernandez, when they've came in to fill in a position, they've been great. Kieran Clark's our top goal scorer this season, with 2 goals, tied with John Joe Shelby. So he's been great, but I think the main one that everyone's been up on their feet about is Alan Saint-Maximin. He is dangerous. I think you guys will have trouble dealing with him at the weekend. Full-back, don't know how to deal with him. I think in Saint-Maximin's head, he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, he's just got loads and loads of pace. His pace is frightening. If he gets through, then good luck, you're not catching him. But like, he's got these skills. He can twist in and out. He can have you standing on your head like you don't know where he's going to be. But I also don't think he knows where he's going to be, and that's the problem. Like, when he's running, he doesn't know what he's going to do himself. So how are we meant to know? How are the defenders meant to know? He's got bags of potential. He's getting better week by week. He's getting better. He still hasn't scored a goal. Still hasn't got an assist. He's had any number of chances, particularly the game against West Ham. He missed 2 sitters. It's kind of like with Miguel Almiron. Like it looks like he's never going to score a goal for Newcastle. The amount of chances he's had over the last 10 months and missed. Like, we're just kind of at the point now where if he's through on goal, we're just thinking, well, that's not going to go in. Like, there's no point cheering or getting excited because he's not going to score. So Maximin's kind of the same, but we see like a bit more potential in him. So I'd say he's probably been one standout player. Like, every time he gets the ball, he gets the fans off their seat. Like, he's exciting. Like, we just want to see what he's capable of because we know he's got a lot to offer. There's been a couple of others, like Isaac Hayden puts in 110% every week. Sometimes doesn't always get the best outcome. Matty Longstaff came in, done United over. You can thank me later. He's only really played 3 games though. He's a young lad with bags of potential. Still only 19. Made his debut against United, man of the match, winning goal. But he hasn't been in for the last few games. Like, I think we still need to ease him in a little bit. So I wouldn't quite say he's been a standout player, but he's definitely the one to watch for the future.
Okay, question 3 for Matt and Keg that they've asked me is, how can Newcastle beat Manchester City on Saturday? Well, you beat us last year, last season, 2-1. One thing you've got in your favour is that Sergio Aguero, as you know, loves scoring against Newcastle. He's not out. He's not playing. He's out injured, so he's going to be out for at least 2-3 weeks, which is going to be a big miss. We've got Gabby Jesus coming in. Is Gabby Jesus at a level of Aguero? Probably not. But I think it's going to be difficult for you. But I think I always say, certainly looking at the way this season City have played and the games that we've lost, if we turn up thinking that we're just going to get 3 points, it doesn't generally turn out that way. Wolves, we were extremely poor. Norwich had a bit of good fortune in that defeat when... We've also had the draw against Spurs, which we were unfortunate with. Obviously, Liverpool, the VAR done us on a couple of occasions, but no excuses. I think on occasions this season, it looks like it's after the Lord Mayor's show. You know, our 2 seasons back to back, very tight, very difficult seasons, where we won both titles with 198 points. I think it's possibly taken a little bit of something out of the team. Pep needs to get that back into them as quickly as possible, because I think its attitude and application is the 2 key things that have led us to get beat 3 times and draw this season so far. So for you guys, how can you beat us? Well, I would suggest obviously the defence also. We've been very inconsistent with our selection, and I think that's been a problem as well. With every game, it seems to be different right backs, different centre backs, and I don't think that really helps the squad. So left back, Angelino. Will Mendy play? I'm not too sure. Will Angelino play? You can get behind the back of Angelino with pace. We saw that the other night against Shakhtar. So that could be an area to look at. But I'm hopeful Ben Mendy will be back for the game at the weekend. And on the other side, Kyle Walker. That brings sort of 2 sides with decent pace. Who will play at centre-back? I'm not too sure. I'm hoping this time it's 2 proper centre-backs, as in Otamendi and John Stones, and maybe give Ferner a run back at central defensive midfield. But it's going to be difficult, I think, for you guys. I'll be honest with you, because we've got so much attacking intent. Kevin De Bruyne is now starting to hit a little bit of form. Bernardo Silva, will he play? Won't he play? Will Riyad Mahrez come back after a great goal last game against Chelsea? So I think the targeting of getting behind the back of the left back area has always been our Achilles heels until we get a proper left back who can defend. I think that's the area that you should be looking at.
Thoughts on Saturday's game? Scary. That's scary thoughts. I don't really want to think about it right now after the game we watched on Monday night against Aston Villa. Coming up against City, it's not what we want. Like, it really is a scary thought. Like, we could get done over 6-7-0 easy. But we kind of need to keep in mind, like, this is what, like, as Newcastle fans know, we've seen this time and time again. As I mentioned before, we got beat 3-1 off Norwich, then went and done Tottenham over away. Like, quite often, like, when we're in our toughest ruts, or we'll have, like, a bad loss, we'll have, like, a big game coming up, and that's when we tend to do well. We tend to lose to, Norwich's and Aston Villa's, but it's, United's and Tottenham's and City's we tend to beat, or do well at least. Like, we'll be over the moon with a point if Man City come here on Saturday and we get a point out of it. We'll be buzzing with that. So I'm slightly optimistic, despite what I've seen on Monday night. City drew in the Champions League this week, 1-1 I think it was. Not the greatest of performances. I don't think Man City have been at their best this season, which is mad to say, because I think most teams would have taken, like, where you guys are. Like, you've still got some great players like Raheem Sterling, as I think Sergio Aguero's out this weekend, which is great for us, but then you've got Gabriel Jesus to come in, who's just as good. Like, I rate him massively. It was Man City at home last season where we were at one of our deepest ruts of the season in January, the day we announced the Miguel Almiron signing, and we won. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, I think that day we were planning massive protests against Mike Ashley, and there was rumours that Rafa Benitez was ready to walk out the door. So had we been done over, like 6-0, as we fully expected, I think I put a 5-0 bet on. But Rafa was ready to walk out the door after that game, after getting turned over. But we kind of came together as like a 12th man, and together we slugged out a 2-1 win, despite going 1-0 down in, I think it was 30 seconds. Aguero scored in 30 seconds, but we ended up winning that game. So I am slightly optimistic, but I'm going to kick myself in the teeth come full time, because it could be anything.
Okay, the fourth question from Matt and Keg was, is Aguero a huge miss, or is Jesus good enough? Good question. Is he a huge miss? Absolutely. Has he been at his absolute best this season? Not for the last few games. He's looked like he's still carrying a knock, even though at the beginning of the season, after he had some surgery towards the end of last season, and said that his knee felt better than ever. I'm not too sure. I still think the last few games he's been carrying something, and as we now know, he picked up that injury against Chelsea, which is going to keep him out for 2-3 weeks. So, but I mean, Sergio Aguero is absolutely world class, one of the best strikers the Premier League has ever seen. I mean, if you look at his stats so far this season in the Premier League alone, 12 matches, 9 goals, 2 assists. I mean, that is top class, you know. figures for a striker. Gabby, on the other hand, has played 10 matches. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist. And the difference between the two players is that Gabby brings you tons of energy. Is he as clinical as Sergio Aguero? No, definitely not. But he does bring another sort of dynamism to the team. I'd still rather have Aguero, especially with his track record against Newcastle. And, you know, Gabby's got a long way to go yet. He's still only young, where Sergio maybe has hit probably just over that curve of where he is from a footballing point of view. And he's just brilliant, though. And he can turn a game on its head. You know, within 20 minutes, he could have a hat-trick. That's how good he is. I don't see that with Gabby. That's the difference between the two. But Gabby will bring that energy and enthusiasm. The other thing I want to say is that on Gabby's side, he rarely gets a run of games. When we've seen him get a run of 3-4 games, I think last season he got 5 in 4. So he's not getting that at Manchester City. So hopefully now with Aguero out, the pressure is off a little bit. You can relax rather than snapping at shots and pulling at shots when he could take his time and be a little bit more composed. Hopefully this time it just takes a little bit of weight off his shoulders, knowing, you know, if he does all right, he'll keep his place. It won't be the usual, well, I've had a good game, and next game, well, Sergio's back in. So fingers crossed for Gabby, because I do like him. I think he gives the team a lot of energy. But it'll be interesting to see how he plays on Saturday against you guys.
Which leads on to the final question, score prediction. I don't know. I really don't know. I think in my head's telling us a Man City win. Obviously, probably 4-0 maybe. But there's every chance Newcastle could scrape out a 1-0 win. I think we'd be over the moon with a 1-1 draw, something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't. I'm not going to bet on it. I'm not going to put money on it. My head's saying about 4-0 City, but my heart's saying perhaps 1-1. If we can get a draw, amazing. If we can get 3 points, Christmas has come early. As far as we're concerned, that's gonna. I think last season our 2-1 win was our biggest win of the season and a major turning point in our season, because it was looking good that we could have got relegated. We were the only teams to beat Man City in 2019 in last season, in the second half of the season. You've won every single game, I think. I don't know how many games you drew, but you only lost 1 game, and that was against us at St James's. So that's where my optimism's coming from. Plus knowing that we do well against the better teams, plus having a bad spell, and then playing a good team. Like this is where we scrape out results. So you just need to watch out. Like Man City fans that are overly confident about this game, don't be. Like, yes, there is every chance that you could smash with, but I wouldn't be putting money on that, to be honest. So take what that as you will. Thank you, Andy, for inviting me on. Always a pleasure to collaborate. Please like the video and subscribe to the Magpie Channel TV as well as Man City Fan TV. Thanks for watching, everyone, and enjoy yourself.
And the last 2 questions from Keg and Matt was thoughts on Newcastle and Steve Bruce so far, and also my score prediction for this weekend. Well, I'll be honest with you, I've not watched a great deal of Newcastle. I'm not one of these fans who watch every game, every Premier League game, all the other teams and things like that. I don't tend to do it. Far too busy for that type of thing. But what I do is, obviously, we do the Premier League predictions each week and on the channel. And looking back on your last 5 games, a loss, a draw, a win. You had a couple of good wins and then another loss last week. Sort of shows it's that inconsistency. The only other point, I mean, you're down in 14th on 15 points, but my one big concern for you guys is the fact that you have only scored 11 goals and conceded 20 with a -9. Aston Villa, who are a place below you, are on -1, and you look going up the table, you know, Brighton -4, Bournemouth -1. I think the problem being is that you're conceding too many and certainly not scoring enough goals. But Steve Bruce, I don't know what the expectations were. Obviously, he's been brought into Newcastle, is a local lad, so I'm sure he has a certain amount of respect from the fans because he is a local guy. But he's not the best manager in the world, if I'm being honest with you. What would the expectations be after Rafa Benitez? For me, looking from the outside in, I would suggest if you finished in, I don't know, 14th, 15th, where you are now, I would guess that'd just be a season that is sort of average and where we should be. I really cannot see you finishing in the top 10, not under Steve Bruce. Under Rafa Benitez, maybe. Under Steve Bruce, no. And I think if you were possibly even going to survive relegation this year, you might look at that as successful. But I think it all comes down, I think it's a Mike Ashley signing, if I'm being honest. And it's, will he give him money to spend? Who knows? But I think you do need investment in there. So as far as Steve Bruce and Newcastle, I'll be honest with you. I think if he keeps you up, he's done an all right job. But until you get new owners in and you get a real proper manager that you guys absolutely deserve with the support and fan base you've got up there, I think you're always going to be flirting with relegation. Or you might get relegated, have a great season in the Championship and come back up. And I think you're going to be a bit of a yo-yo team until Ashley's gone. A proper investor comes in and you get yourself a proper manager that you deserve. That's my thoughts on Steve Bruce. On to the score prediction. Well, I've gone for Newcastle 1, Manchester City 3. I don't think it'll be a riot. I don't think City will run away with a 5-0, 6-0, something like that. I just don't see it at all. I think it's going to be a tight game. It might be a close 1-1 at half-time, and we may get a couple in the second half or towards the end of the game. I think with the Newcastle fans behind their team at home, it's always difficult. It really is. So, I think it's going to be a tighter game. I don't think 3-1 is going to be a really comfortable 3-1. I think it'll be a close game for large portions of the match. But I'm hopeful City will run out winners by a couple of goals. But anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. I want to say a massive thank you again to Keg and Matt from the Magpie Channel TV. And please, guys, go over and subscribe to their channel. The links to their channel will be in the description below this video. But anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Good luck on Saturday. We'll see you up there. So come over and have a chat on camera, and we'll have a chat with you for some pre-match fan cams. But take care, guys, and all the best.